equivalent of me saying, do I look fat in this outfit?
Like, a little bit.
And then, well, no, you don't look fat, but it's not as appealing.
I mean, you look like you're in a romper. And I didn't say you couldn't get out of it. You were the one that showed that off.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Just imagine, this is not like we're going to get sexy tonight outfit. I'll tell you
what.
Oh
my God, it would take you till next Thursday to get out of it just to get some.
By the end of it, he's going to be like, it's over.
It's the Scott and Allie Not For Air podcast. The rules are gone. The shirt is untucked. Here's Scott and Allie.
Well, before we started, I was eating on camera, and that's the last thing you want to see is watching yourself eat.
No, this is a great diet move. I was thinking about this.
No.
So
the answer is no.
Nobody knows just how gross they are till they watch themselves eat. And, and it's actually one of the reasons I despise eating alone in a restaurant. Like, you've told stories how your dad, who used to do a lot of traveling when he worked for Ford, and he would literally go to a restaurant completely by himself.
Yeah. But this is even when he wasn't even working. He has no problem doing it.
I never, ever, ever in my life have eaten alone at a restaurant. I never will, because I feel all eyes are on me, watching me just hog out. And I'm telling you, you might be onto something. We spend all this money. I just got a free Noom trial in my email. Deleted it.
Okay. I was wondering if you were going to Noom.
No, not Newman. But so Newman. So that, you know how it is. There's all these things. Then we're Ozempicing, right? I'm telling you, watch yourself stuff your face. That's it. You're going to cut down your eating by probably 75%.
I'll just put a mirror in front of me at home. Watch myself eat.
You'll be disgusted.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it is disgusting.
And the funny thing is, I eat in front of you and you eat in front of me all the time.
I know. And I never think that you're a disgusting eater. I don't think anything about you eating. Now, I know there are people who are disgusting eaters. You're not one of them. I think I am kind of disgusting.
Food flying
Scott's
everywhere.
Not saying anything, which means
I'm telling you, though, if you do it alone, see, maybe the key is when you're doing it with somebody, it almost takes the angst away from it. Like, oh, we're diverted. We have each other, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, this might be something. There needs to be a psychological study and a weight loss study. And if I'm right on this, I want millions. But I'm telling you, just put a mirror in front of you, eat alone. I guarantee you will cut, and you can't scroll your phone and distract yourself,
right?
To the point where you're like, well, I haven't watched myself eat. No, you gotta watch yourself eat.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I'll stop eating.
Yeah, I'll stop. See,
my calorie deficit.
The pounds melting away.
Yeah, it was gross.
By the way, as we continue with the critiquing of Allie's outfits, I love the designing woman look today.
Oh, thank you. This thing is a full-on romper.
Wow.
I struggled to get out of this earlier.
Allie and I both walked out of the studio earlier today during the middle of the Scott and Allie show.
Yeah.
And we both walked back in at the same time. You were coming out of the bathroom. I was coming around the corner. And you literally go, I almost had to yell for you to help me to get out of this.
Because I want you guys to, now I know that for you guys listening, this is not going to work as well. But so I got to I'm going to kind of like,
disrobe?
Yeah, I'm going to try to. So I've got the tank top, like pull it back up. So I'm like trying. It's stuck. It's stuck right here.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm like, okay. I thought, well, if Scott just at least gets me out of the top.
Hello.
I seriously thought about it. And then I thought, no, I work with females. I can have another female come in. But I wouldn't feel weird at all to have you at least get my arm out of this.
Get the outer layer off.
Like,
that would,
see the struggle?
You are fighting. It's like wrestling yourself out of a... Now, wait, after that, you said you have a tank top on.
Yeah, well, the tank top stays on.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you don't have to take that off to pee. That would be real weird if you're getting totally naked to pee.
Right.
But and then obviously underneath that, I'm assuming is the bra.
Well, I'm not taking my bra off to pee.
I know. Just saying, you are completely packed in right now.
Oh, I am. And the tank top is stuffed in my underwear. So,
well, if you need a hand.
And I love this romper so much.
Oh, it looks great. It does.
Oh, thank you.
Look out. Kindergarten substitutes, be on alert. She's coming.
Actually, I saw Gwen Stefani has almost this exact same romper. So first, I've owned this romper for years. It's a full denim romper. And
it's a Canadian tuxedo of a romper.
And I even put I got my red cowboy boots
Oh
on.
my gosh, you just lifted them up.
So I saw that Gwen Stefani has almost the exact same romper and her new artwork for her new single with her husband Blake. And I was like, Gwen, we are like sisters.
You're talking to me again, Gwen.
I know.
You really got to plan ahead, though. You pee about 18 times a day, and that's before noon. And I'm like, maybe you should do the quick button pull thing, this where they snap together. You just get out and go.
I drink so much. Before noon,
Water, that is, people.
What?
I said water. That implied something different.
Drank coffee. I drank an entire, how many ounces are in this? Hold on a second. How many ounces are in this? Oh, 30. I drank 33 ounces of a Propel.
Oof.
I had a lemonade thing. I drank, then refilled it with water. So yeah, I have drank a lot today.
You are well hydrated for this.
I know. This is not the outfit for hydration.
Yeah, feeling just a tad puffy.
Yeah, right.
I do think it is very nice, though. I wanted you to know. I'm actually just glad you broke away from the Laura Ingalls look for a minute. All right.
I know every video that we have on our social right now, I'm wearing that sweater.
It's the same one. I'm glad you shook it up. I mean, then again, though, I'm not one to comment. I'm wearing almost the exact same style shirt week to week. So it looks like my closet has the exact, I'm like in some kind of uniform.
Scott either has like a black or gray sweater or button-up plaid, and button-up plaid.
That's all I got. Mm-hmm. I got it. That's it. So, I scream Gap.
Yeah, right. Not an endorsement.
No, not at all. But anyway, I want to get into something. So this podcast will drop after Valentine's Day. Yes. And I saw a meme, and my gosh, all right. When you are in an argument or a discussion, and the line comes to you after.
Oh, yes, I hate this.
Oh, I need you to hold on to this one, because this one that I'm going to give you, I'll give it to you a couple times. This is that pow zinger. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
You were too busy finding faults in me while I was too busy overlooking yours.
That is so funny, because yesterday, my significant other was saying something about like, oh, you complain about this, you complain about that, you complain about this.
Whoops.
And but he had just got done complaining about something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I came back at him with, wait a second. You were just complaining about blah, 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 whatever it was. So.
All right. Well, remember, you were too busy finding faults in me while I was too busy overlooking yours.
Aww.
No, that's not an awe. That is when I say
but how awe is that you because isn't part of a relationship is that those faults you can be okay with. I mean, as long as they're in a safe space. Excuse me, I had lunch right before this. I almost burped. I know. I feel like we should do this before we eat.
Yeah, that's never a possibility.
I know.
So, because we're always eating.
I know.
No wonder you can't get out of the romper. We have not stopped eating since we saw each other 18 years ago.
Just be lucky that I didn't have to take a huge shat. I would have had poop coming all down my romper leg.
I have baby wipes in the car. Always travel with them.
I've never pooped myself. I've pooped myself. I have never pooped myself where it has literally traveled down my leg.
Oh my.
Have you?
Well, maybe when I was actually like one in a diaper.
No. I'm talking full on travel.
No, I've never had that. Thankfully not. No.
Me neither.
Unless there was a shower close by, in which case I'd use it instantaneously. Back to what we were saying, though, about you were too busy finding faults in me while I was too busy overlooking you. Now, or overlooking yours, not overlooking you. That's a totally different statement. So here's what I think it means. I think it means it's a tremendously unhealthy relationship. You're finding all my faults. I'm too busy not paying attention to go, we need to have a healthy discussion here and have this conversation and say, this is the problem. For me, this hits home way different than it did for you. You went, like the person they're forgetting your flaws. But if only one person is forgetting the flaws and the other person is finding all the flaws, you are in a terribly unhealthy place.
No, see, I look at it, isn't this funny? One thing, two people, two different views. Because I was looking at it like, I can't hone in and focus on your flaws because
there's so many.
Because there's so many. But then I'll start to resent you or not like you or whatever the case may be. I don't want to say not like you, but then it's going to start festering. So I'm looking at it like I can overlook those things, and I can still, and by me overlooking, I will hone in on the things that I love about you as opposed to the things that annoy the shit out of me.
Well, and okay. See, now you're coming from the aspect of being in a healthy relationship, and everyone's in a healthy relationship. Okay. If this were today in my relationship, I could say healthy relationship. I could take your mindset with this. If this was, let's say, a previous relationship, then I was in the way I described it. I kept having flaws pointed out while I kept overlooking theirs, when in reality, I probably at some point should have said, whoa, pump the brakes here. I think I tried to, but whatever. I keep looking the other way, trying to hope things are going to just be better.
Oh, now that you're right there is, and not to hone in on the flaws of your previous relationship too much, but yes, there were times that, as friends and even other people in this building, you would tell a story, and you're not perfect. Believe me, you're not perfect.
No, I'm not perfect.
But you would tell a story, and then you would say you came in and told a story to me and to
everybody else
and Jim, me and Jim.
Yeah.
And then you walked away and we're like, whoa, like that's a big problem. That's a big red flag or what have you.
That's what I'm getting at.
I think there was multiple times that we would say, I can't believe that, not just you, both of you, whatever. I can't believe that you continued on with this relationship, or I can't believe he's continuing on accepting that, or whatever the situation is. You were kind of rose-colored glasses sometimes, I think, in that relationship. I don't know why you were that way.
Well,
because it seemed really obvious.
I will. Well, and yes, us. Because you guys have the outside looking in view, and I'm not saying. I'll say it like this: there are times where you don't realize that you are, whether it's enabling or whether it is sort of, like you said, the rose-colored glasses, because you don't realize, I mean, it takes a lot of strength to go, this must stop. Not end necessarily, depending on the situation. I'm not talking about the relationship. I'm talking about a situation. This must stop, or series of situations. And it can become very difficult to go the other direction, because when you're in it, and depending on what the circumstances are, and I could mean circumstances from whether you rely too much on that person, whether it's a financial, whether it's kids, whether it's whatever.
Or emotional codependency.
Yes, there is a huge amount of that that goes into it. And that's not exclusive to me or anything in my past. That's where I go, okay, if someone's constantly overlooking, and the other person's constantly finding faults, that's unhealthy. You've got to find a way to meet in the middle. I don't care if it's healthy boundaries. And sometimes that's extremely difficult to set, but you got to find them. And sometimes you just got to be real honest. And it's another thing that's not easy to do, because you're afraid by being super honest, not mean, just super honest, that you're afraid the other person might so badly knee jerk that suddenly they bail, or whatever the case may be. And that's not what the intention was. It was just trying to fix something, so that's what I got.
I do understand that, because I was in a really terrible relationship years ago. And sometimes, not that I find it hard to be honest, but it's hard to just communicate with my significant other now. Now we're in the business of communication. I should be the best communicator. And everyone always thinks that it's me that's the better communicator in our relationship. And it's not me.
Yeah.
It is. And it is because I was in a position before where it was very critical. So now I sometimes will avoid communicating or avoid talking about certain things or asking things because of just, where I was at before.
It's
even though
fear.
I know, right. Even though I know it's always going to be, or 98% of the time, it's going to be a healthy reaction. I don't know why I still have this fear or why I just avoid it. Now I've just created that unhealthy habit.
Well, you and I are similar and different in one regard. Okay. So me, I try not to hurt people's feelings. That's not my overall goal in anything I do.
And I try to always hurt people's feelings.
No, I think you're with me. Our differences are, you get to a point where you go and it's going to eventually blow. It doesn't matter what, it's going to
Always.
eventually blow. And I go to
Stuffers and exploders.
Yeah. And I go to a point where I keep taking it and taking it and taking it, and it changes me. And it really like almost poisons me into being something I don't want to be when it happens. And instead, I almost wonder, would it be better to just blow up or whatever the case may be? But that's where the difference comes. We both are, neither one of us start out trying to be cruel or trying to do something to hurt people's feelings. It doesn't matter if it's the show or in real life. We don't wake up in the morning and go, hey, how can we be real pieces of shit today to somebody? That's never the goal.
No.
So that plays into almost that fear you're talking about of not wanting to, you're afraid you're going to have the other person react in a way that you don't want them to react. But the reality to it is they're going to react whatever way they're going to react. You can't control that.
Right, exactly. So whether it's now or 5 days from now, let's just release the valve. So it's like a boiler, so the boiler doesn't explode.
And you know what's funny about it? We can sit here and talk about it. And it is the hardest thing to change. It is the hardest thing.
It is. And one last thing that I want to say is like, I think even as a friend, I would sometimes say little things like, hey, this isn't healthy. This isn't great.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't make the decision for you. When I was in a bad relationship, Danielle would say the same thing. And she would say, I have to be honest with you. She was the one honest person about my relationship. And I am forever grateful. It could have went. I could have been like, screw you, Danielle, you're wrong, but no, she was the one person who was so honest. And I don't know, maybe she just knew that I needed to hear it and could hear it and still be okay with our friendship.
Yeah.
Knowing that. But I also knew that my relationship was super toxic, but you don't know everything's toxic. I have to tell you something that happened once. So, and I'm not going to say everything, but I will say this. So like, one thing I hate is name calling. I don't know if you've ever done this in a relationship or not, like you're a bitch or whatever, but name calling had happened in this really toxic relationship, calling me a slut and a whore. So, right. And I'm not. My number is so low. Now,
of the many things you might be.
I know.
That's not one of them.
And I know that I am friendly in social situations.
Yeah.
But that's me being me and being friendly.
The same goes for, and there are some buzzwords, and I know this from my therapist from, when it was very intensive. There are buzzwords people like to use and like to throw around. Narcissist is a huge one. Everybody's a narcissist. Oh, that person's a narcissist. That person's a narcissist, this and that.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people can throw certain things, or, oh, God, you gaslight. You're a gaslighter. Oh, this and that. There's a stupid expression. So that all being said, a lot of times the people that are saying that are actually the ones that, not always. Sometimes you're in a situation where you were really with someone that was like that. But a lot of times people will say that while they're in the relationship to the other person, not realizing they're really the ones that need the mirror reflected back on them like, hello.
Well, so here's what I was going to say about that though is, and yes, there's truth to that. But so I was younger in this relationship. And I had not had a lot of serious relationships prior to this, but I know better. My dad and my mom have a great example of love. Never has my dad ever called my mom a slut or a whore or anything like that. No. And
even I know that. And I've only known him for shy of 20 years. But the relationship I've seen, it's not in your father's DNA.
Right. So I knew better, right? I did. But for some reason, I was like, I got to ask one of my girlfriends. So I said to her on the phone one day, does your significant other, so-and-so, let's call him Tommy, has Tommy ever called you like a slut or a whore? And she was like, what? No. And I said, never. And she's like, no. And so I said to her, every day, almost every day, slut or whore comes out of his mouth. Oh. And yeah. And
I mean, that's so strong.
Tell me about it.
Well,
for 3.5 years.
Oh.
So now I'm like, never. And she's like, no, that is so unhealthy. Like,
yeah.
And I didn't even tell her like, well, wait a second. This like happens all the time. And that is something that sometimes, like when we were talking a little bit about your relationship or anybody else's relationship, is like sometimes you know it's wrong, but then you like check with somebody else and they really solidify that's really wrong.
Can I give you another twist on this? And then we're going to move to something completely off this subject because I have something really kind of funny I want to ask you. And I have a feeling you might have gone down this path.
Okay.
People also hear, I'm not saying that your friend was not being called a slut and a whore on a daily basis, which is horrible. I mean, I'm not
me.
Or you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, the person inside you, your friend. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean that.
Right.
But that being said,
my inner self wants to be sometimes. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Which one of you? You know?
Yeah, right.
But now we really got a psychological profile going. But here's the other thing too. Have you ever been with someone that hears only what they want to hear and kind of twists it a little bit? I'll give you an example. I was in a situation where the person would say, I'm a fuck up. Okay?
Okay.
And I would say, no, you're not a fuck up. You may have fucked up, but you're not a fuck up. But then they twist it again to, well, you said I'm a fuck up. No, you're never going to win an argument like that. Walk away from it. That's a case where it doesn't matter. You're not overlooking flaws like we started with this phrase. That's a situation where that person is stuck. So if you have a person that is and it doesn't have to just be that phrase, but if you have a person that's sort of taking that approach, what they're doing is they're trying to do this like almost double spin, I'll call it.
Yeah.
And you're like sitting there going, that's not at all what I said. And watch that to come back.
It's the equivalent of me saying, do I look fat in this outfit? Like,
a little bit.
And then, well, no, you don't look fat, but it's not as appealing.
I mean, you look like you're in a romper. And I didn't say you couldn't get out of it. You were the one that showed that off.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Just imagine, this is not like we're going to get sexy tonight outfit. I'll tell you
what.
Oh
my God, it would take you till next Thursday to get out of it.
The Scott and Allie Not For Air podcast is sponsored by Allison Aesthetics. It's Allie Payne. Come along with me in my journey.
Part of my maintenance, like you guys see, I get my nails done. I get my hair done. But the lips are what make me feel good. Got to get in there. Got to get those lips done. When I started, it was like, oh, I'm just going to put a little toe in there. And now I'm like, yeah, I want to plump these babies up. So for me, like, it's been an evolution. So just wait. I was asking Jamie for the keyhole because I saw it on somebody else. And I was like, I want her lips. Give me that.
Consultations at Allison Aesthetics. So if you're considering any of these treatments, such as Botox or a little lip filler or just any skincare concern, that is something that we will always offer.
But then when I see the before and afters of the lips, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks freaking awesome.
Yep.
That is like such a difference. That's perfect. This is my self-care. This makes me happy.
You have house sat.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
That used to be one of my side hustles.
All right, here it is.
Okay.
If you're house sitting for somebody, should you be allowed to eat and drink what you want, and even if they don't tell you to?
That is such a great question.
Oh, good, because I got a secondary part to this.
So
I got a prime rib in there, and
Yeah.
it's cooked, and obviously, I ate at least one slice out of it, but I got and a bottle of Chianti.
Yeah. So I used to house sit for somebody who definitely had nicer booze. And let's say it was Don Perignon.
This is going to go so well into my part 2 question, but carry on.
And I kind of felt like, because they would say, oh, help yourself to anything. Well, does that mean anything?
If they say anything.
Right? And that's kind of how she always would say it. But I'm sure that she did not mean for me to drink her Dom Perignon.
Yeah, if you're blowing dust off a bottle of champagne, that's for a very, very special occasion.
So I think that, I should be able to eat the almonds that nobody really wants in the cupboard. But no, I think we can all be smart enough to not eat or drink everything.
Oh, okay. All right. Even if you really want that tub of, I don't know, I can't go.
Oh, say it's like New York cheesecake that they had shipped to their house.
Oh, perfect.
And no one has even taken a bite.
I mean, do you take a piece? You're there, you're house sitting.
Want to.
But all right, so you're house sitting from Wednesday until let's say that the following Monday.
Oh my God, then I absolutely have to, because my mind is going to go, well, you can't let it go to waste.
Yeah, I don't care
You're
that there's a
not gonna eat
birthday
all-
on that Tuesday. They're going to just have to order another.
You're not going to eat all this cheesecake. I know it. This one of these slices was meant for me.
That's right. Okay, so you're saying that if you're house sitting for someone, you're allowed to eat or drink what you want if they don't tell you to.
Yeah, kind of. It usually comes with the territory that it's like, make yourself at home.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Here's a twist. I'll twist it before I go to part 2 of the
'cause
question.
I got another thing I got to tell you about house sitting one.
So let's keep the cheesecake, okay?
Okay.
You got a $100 cheesecake in the fridge because it's the New York cheesecake that came
Yes.
all the way from Manhattan, right?
Yes.
And it's sitting there. They had plans to use it for whatever, okay?
Yep.
And you decide a slice. Okay.
Just gotta.
Now, let's say you're going to be paid $200 to house sit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you ate a piece of the cheesecake and she goes, well, listen, I'm going to give you 150.
No.
Because I got to order another
Oh my
cheesecake.
God. No. Oh, now you make me not want to eat the cheesecake.
Right, well,
Okay. And going back to like, oh, well, you make yourself at home and you're house sitting and they trust me. Here's the problem is they literally trust me. I one time.
that makes it sound like no one should the way you said that.
Right. They shouldn't. Because I one time was house sitting for someone. And this was where like, if you want to have a girlfriend come up, then you can. So I did. I had a girlfriend come up. But me and my girlfriend didn't want to sleep in the spare bedroom together. So instead of us sleeping on the couch and then on the bed, I slept in the homeowner's bed.
Yeah, all right.
No, she was not happy about that.
Oh, really?
Rightfully so, because I can tell you, I do not want anyone else sleeping in my bed.
Now, that's ironic because about 14 years ago.
Did I sleep in your bed?
No.
No.
Well, you've slept in the spare room. I don't know. You've
No,
house
but
sat
I
for
would
me.
not sleep. I would not sleep in your bed.
Now, see, I don't care because I would make sure there was new sheet. Well, let me finish.
I know the story you're going to tell.
So, if you were house sitting for me, then we'll tell that story.
Oh my God, I'm turning so red about this.
So if it were, I don't even remember all the parts to it. All I know, all right, hold on. I'll come back to my bed. I remember I slept in your bed.
Yeah.
But
you did.
but I
I
think
felt really weird about it. I'm not going to lie.
I would. I didn't find anything weird. I just needed a place to crash. I was between relationships.
So-
oh my God, that sounds so bad.
You got in a fight with, I think you got in a fight with you. Let's just say you got in a fight, okay?
Yeah.
And you used to stay at Kevin's all the time.
Yes.
And then Kevin moved away.
Yes, he did.
So this was,
Apparently, I had a lot of fights.
so I'm in my apartment that I've had. This is my first apartment by myself. I had lots of roommates. If you guys are just listening for the first time, I had so many roommates.
And one part-time.
Wait, what?
Me.
But it was just one night.
I know.
So you had called and I said, well, that's okay. I'm in this relationship where I spend the night at his house all the time. So I, call my ex. Well, he's not my ex. I mean, at the
Now
time
he is.
we were dating. Anyway, so, hey, I'm going to spend the night tonight. Scott's going to spend the night here. I think I would feel more comfortable instead of us brushing our teeth together in the morning. I would feel more comfortable going to, his name was Dale. So going to Dale's and brushing my teeth there and showering there and everything.
Right.
And you get to my house and I assumed just a couch. I leave the blankets out and everything. Scott calls me because the door is unlocked, whatever. Hey, so could I sleep in your bed?
I had to be fresh for the show.
That's what you said. You're like, this couch isn't very comfortable. And remember,
You've never had a comfortable couch as long as I've known you.
I just like them to look pretty.
It's just
and
a
do you
wood plank.
remember the couch? The reason it wasn't comfortable, it wasn't a full-size couch.
I couldn't stretch my legs.
Right.
I'd have been sleeping. If you're watching the video, I'd have been sleeping like this.
Yes.
It was between a love seat and a couch, and I'm 6'1".
Right. It was 3 cushions, but you're right. It wasn't a full size. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Your black sheets were beautiful. I still remember them to this day.
Yeah. So then I get off the phone and I'm like, Dale, you're never going to believe this. Scott wants to sleep in my bed and he's like, what? Needless to say, I changed the sheets after
Well,
that.
of course you would. Now back to my room. If you were house sitting for me, I would always make sure you have clean sheets, and I would actually invite
Of course,
you.
but I'm not sleeping on your bed. I'm probably going to sleep on the couch.
Okay, I just wanted you to know there's the big TV in there. There's there's all the
I
comfort.
love how you're trying to lure me into your bedroom.
I'm just saying.
No, thank you.
All right, fine. Sleep in the spare bedroom, and you can have the little TV.
Well,
and good luck.
Yes, I
Good
want the
luck.
little TV. I can watch TV on my phone. I don't need a big TV.
I mean, my bedroom is like a second living room. You could have had a nice time, but whatever.
I don't want wherever you're making, drain babies. I don't.
Oh my God.
I don't need to be there.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Drain babies.
And that's why now I feel bad because now I'm a grown woman.
That reminds me of, I got to read a t-shirt to you that got sent to me. Go ahead.
I'm a grown woman and I cannot believe that I slept in that person that I was house sitting. I can't believe I slept in her bed. I would never do that now. I feel so bad about this. I think that's probably why
She's never invited you back to house sit.
Right. Not only did her, I was house sitting and dog sitting. Her dog had passed too. But
Oh,
I think
well.
I think if she needed a house sitter now, she would go, nope, not
Really?
Allie.
Well.
Nope, she sleeps in my bed. And she did talk to me about it afterwards.
The shirt that got sent to me today. Hang on, it's loading right here. It was you had made the mention of what did you call them? Drain babies?
Yeah.
Oh my God, hang on.
Actually, that's like when you're in the shower.
Thank you, Pinterest for shut up, bitch. Your birth certificate is an apology letter from the condom factory.
Oh my God, that's funny. I like that.
It's so bad.
I could never have the balls to wear it though.
Oh
Do you
no.
remember at one point there would be people would wear like really offensive T-shirts. That was a thing for.
There was a minute. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember again. I was dating somebody else, and he's great. He's hilarious. I actually just talked to him today for a brief second. So, and I said at one point, you cannot wear that shirt to one of my family functions.
Oh yeah. Come on, it's a family function, don't you?
He did not have that same sentiment. He's like, I'm gonna wear whatever I want. I'm like, and this, that should have been as nice as a person as he is. That's also, hey, there's a red flag. Like you need to respect the family unit here.
Yeah, showing up as though you just don't,
so-
because it's a I don't care show up.
So speaking of, so we had a listener, we talked about this on the show very briefly. We had a listener who asked if we would officiate their wedding because she said she was looking for something humorous. And so I sent her back about us being booked already and we couldn't do it. But I said, I do have an ex who officiates weddings. And do you know what she said back? She obviously listens to the show.
Yeah.
She said, is he super, or she goes, is he a holy roller? Because I don't want a super uptight wedding. And I said, no, he's atheist.
Yeah.
You'll have a good time.
You will. If it's the guy I'm thinking of,
Yes, it
he's
is.
got the funniest lines. Like, honest to God, I want to give him his own show.
Actually, so what ended up happening, so him and I talked today, and I just sent him a text message that said, hey, are you still a certified officiant? I have a listener looking for a fun and humorous wedding, and you came to mind. He goes, yeah, I actually did 2 last year.
Oh, see?
I might be interested. So, yeah, so then we went on, and I think we're going to make a little match here.
I have not seen him in years. One of these times when we're out somewhere, I hope we bump into him because, God, he makes me laugh.
You won't recognize him?
I know. I heard he lost a ton of weight.
Yep.
That's good for him.
I know. Anyway, so.
Oh, back to the house sitting. So here's part 2 of that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Should you have to replace the alcohol you drank while house sitting?
That's one of those, like, they always tell me to make myself at home.
And that means a Manhattan.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So now if I was to house sit for my best friend, he has a huge bourbon collection. And this is like, they're not all expensive, but he has some really expensive bourbons. If you are a bourbon person, then you know the name Poppy Van Winkle. So he will have Poppy Van Winkle. These, if you go to, we have a restaurant here on Market Street. They have a bourbon tasting of these bourbons that is like $500.
Oh.
That's just for 5 tastings. 5 tastings.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of those where I think as the homeowner, you have to be more specific. Don't tell me to make myself at home because I'm going to be drinking 5 shots of Poppy Van Winkle. And then you're going to be pissed. And then you're going to say, well, now I can't pay you your mony because you drank my Poppy Van Winkle.
The Poppy Van Winkle's gone. Yeah.
I just
all right.
love saying Poppy Van Winkle.
So if I had.
But how am I supposed to know? Now I'm getting into it. I'm not let's say I am a bourbon person, but let's say I'm not a bourbon person.
And you don't know what Poppy Van Winkle is.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right. And that's what I'm going to come back with is no, I didn't know. You said make yourself at home. So you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Listen, Poppy Van Winkle, I thought it was the cousin to Admiral McGillicuddy, which is about a $3 bottle of whiskey that I know somebody that used to get hammered on that all the time. So
Quit telling my secrets.
You're right. That's it. All right. We've covered that. So
that's such a sticky area.
I know.
So we are going to be having somebody house sit for us. We have a couple of vacations coming up, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to be watching our dog. I am so glad we're talking about this because the one thing is we have a spare bedroom. So I'm going to say, hey, room is off limits. Yep. Do not go into our bedroom. And especially because I got a toy box, I don't want them looking at my toy box.
Who's going to shame you? Well, I don't know many people that don't.
And second thing is, if I do have a nice bourbon, then I'll say, make yourself at home, drink whatever. But see, then you run the risk of them drinking like 5 bottles of wine. Because in a weekend, I can accomplish 5 bottles of wine. I mean, that's a heavy hitter, but you know what I'm saying?
But it's doable.
Right. Oh, and wait, I'm not done.
All right.
So then I'm also going to say to them, no guests.
Yes.
I cannot allow it. So,
well, now wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to pick 2 names because I know these 2 names. You mention them a lot. I don't know if they're friends, but let's just, for the sake of what I'm going to say,
okay,
let's do this. Okay. So let's say Danielle is house sitting.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
okay.
None of this is really going to happen, but let's say Danielle's house
sitting. This is a good pick. Good pick. Okay.
And she invites Sarah over.
Oh yeah, that can happen.
Okay,
those they're both my friends.
Yeah, they're. I don't know that they're close, but they're both people. Let's pretend they're close, but you're very close with them, so that's okay. But what you don't want to see happening is Danielle's friend Stacy, that you don't know really, or have hung out twice with, suddenly rifling through your toy box, going, "Oh, let's see what Allie's all about, huh?"
And that's the thing. I had brought friends to where I house sat before, and now I see how wrong it is because I am pretty private about where I live. So Drew is our dog sitter.
Yeah.
And is like the best angel baby on the face of this earth. So Drew, I would invite to spend the night and be with our dogs all day long. Now let's pretend Drew's girlfriend is Veronica. I don't want Veronica there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know her, never met her.
There you go.
No Veronica. I don't want Drew's best friend, Andy, coming over. Sorry, Charlie, because I just feel like people are going to get a little drinky. They're going to start poking around in my house. Or if it's just Drew, all he's doing is he's watching my dogs and watching TV.
You know what else I'm hearing out of this though, too, is the level of relationship. I think if Danielle did it, she's only going to bring people around that
I know. If I've never met the person who comes into my house, do not bring them in my house without my permission.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Now, if Drew said, hey, can I bring Veronica? Nah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry.
But house sitting does not mean imprisoning yourself for the entire time.
If it's do whatever.
There you go. It is your home base back for the amount of time you're house sitting. So, I mean, look, I might house sit, but the thing is, I still have to work. So there's going to be a period of time I'm not there, but it's home base for when I'm there. And he can go see Veronica as long as he makes it back.
Yes.
To be able to be there with the dogs overnight. No falling asleep at Veronica's and waking it up at 5 a.m. and rushing home going, I got you guys. No, that's unacceptable.
So whenever I house sat for you and you had Lucy at the time, then that was, I went to work. But also I did kind of imprison myself. Now, not everybody needs to do this.
Well, I think we're different. We're like, really? Downtime? What?
That's how I took it. I was like, sorry, guys, gotta house sit for Scott. So I did stay at your house almost the entire time. And I watched so much Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Enjoy.
I did.
Watch anything you want. Just don't download a new app and charge my Roku. Hey, there's another angle.
Oh my God. Yes. So what if I watched porn when I was at your house and then all of a sudden, I know, but let's pretend. I love pretend scenarios. And then all of a sudden you get the bill, but 6059 gets the bill. and she sees that you have been watching
In and Out and In Again?
In and Out and In Again. I was going to say something even like something real raunchy. It's going to be like
Shaving Ryan's Privates?
Yes. I was going to say
Goodwill Humping?
I was going to even go like Pound Patty Pound or something like that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And she's like, "What? You're watching porn?" And then all of a sudden you are just, I'm in so much
I'm going to
trouble.
admit something to you.
You watch porn.
No.
So many sound bites are coming out of this podcast.
I know. No, I want you to hear this.
What?
Did you ever have a conversation with Zach or with exes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever watch porn together? Have you ever watched it together, to enhance?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the conversation of, well, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched it with someone?
You have to keep in mind, and now Zach and I have a no, we can't talk about sex rules. So, and that's fine. I'm going to keep that as is. But
I'm asking about the subject of, has the subject come up? Have you ever watched it like together to enhance the, I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you don't. That I don't want any knowledge.
I'm just saying, yes, the conversation of course comes up. I'm a pretty free person with my sexuality. So I'm usually always the one that's like, so have you tried horseplay? Or, where you like gallop around and you're like, okay, never mind.
I'd have to leave. That would do it for me. You know what I'd say to that? Nay. But here's my admission. I've not had this conversation with 60/59. No.
Oh, dude.
I don't know if she
looks at it or if
necessarily like it. Like you're like, oh yeah, it's Friday night, 8:00. It's must see TV.
I have a girlfriend who she looks at it all the time.
Okay.
And right. And it's so funny because I don't look at it all that often, but it's funny because once in a while we'll be talking about it and she's like, well, let me tell you what I'm watching right now. Like she went through like a tickling phase and she was watching.
Was she fucking Elmo? Sorry.
Tickling with a feather.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, show me what you're watching. So here we are together, phone's up here and she's like, and that's what we're just like, oh, okay, that's what you're watching. So I think that you definitely need to bring this up.
Okay.
Because then you could bring it into your bedroom situation too.
I'm not saying that that's an interest of mine. I'm just saying I'm not saying I want to. Let's not go to the place where I'm like, I want to have the conversation because I want to bring it in. That's
I'm just telling you should.
Well, okay. But there's the thing called the porn game. You know what that is, right?
No.
That's where you are both completely naked. Please, for the love of God, don't have your kids listen to this episode. Not before I go any further.
Or ever.
Or ever. The porn game is where you're both completely naked and something's going to happen, but you throw on a little bit of porn, whether it's on the phone or whatever you use, a tablet, whatever the case may be. And the first
70-inch.
Or a 70-inch, yes. And then you're all inside her vagina when you think about it. It's that big of a TV. We've just taken a walk in there. But that being said, it's the porn game. You're both naked. You know something's going to happen. You're just not sure when it's going to happen. And with the porn game, what happens is the loser is whoever can't hold back anymore. They're like, that's it. We got to go at it.
Oh, you know what I was thinking to do it. Let me spin some new rules on it. Like it's Simon Says. So whatever they do in the porn, you have to do in the porn.
That's a fun version of
right?
it. I hadn't thought about
Simon
that.
Says, lick my butthole.
That would be, you know what that would be? That would
you
be.
know what I said?
What did you say?
I said, Simon Says, lick my butthole.
Are you sure Simon said it? Can't you just say lick my butthole and I could say you didn't say Simon Says?
That's the way to make it really fun.
Can't we just, please? I'm not sure I heard a Simon there.
Right. So we're changed to Scott. Scott says lick my butthole.
But all that being said, I've not had the conversation whether she watches, likes to watch, likes to bring it in, doesn't like to bring it in. I have no idea.
This is blossoming.
Well, I mean,
this is great.
It just hasn't happened, you know? I mean,
just do it tonight. That's your homework.
I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, fun Thursday night.
Let me tell you what's going to happen.
So
Tuesday night when this drops.
Yeah, we're filming this on a Thursday.
So here's the way it's going to work is she's going to get home from her work, her drive home, and this podcast is long enough. She will have been able to listen from the minute she left her clinic all the way to the minute she gets home. And she's going to walk in and I'm going to have my answer from porn because she listens to this. And I will know whether or not where her stance is on it. And again, I'm not saying I'm asking because I want to bring it in. It's a curiosity.
It's okay.
Of do you? Don't you? Do you ever? What's your feeling on this?
We've had listeners say this before, and this is one of the biggest compliments I think we could ever get. And
how do you keep your jobs?
But also that we'll talk about things on the show or the podcast that they go home to their significant other and bring up that conversation again and see their viewpoint on it. So it's the same with your girlfriend, what do you call her? Your boo, your whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's good because then there are certain things that we'll talk about that you didn't know about her. Mm-hmm. And that opens up the conversation for you guys. So it's the same thing.
Is it weird that I'm X amount of months into this and that has not come up?
No.
Okay. No. So there's no timeline of when that is something that comes up.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay. All right. That helps.
Yeah, no, this is all on your time and like when you're comfortable to do that.
And really for me, it's just more of a curiosity. Much like the bunghole lick.
Now you have your homework.
Never.
Now you have, don't knock it till you try.
Oh, you're the second person that said that.
Who was the first?
6059.
Oh. I thought you were going to say somebody like our friend Danielle or something.
Oh, that could have been too.
Right?
I would expect it out of her too.
I could see her saying that. Don't knock it till you try. Well, you had a lot of people over for the Super Bowl. That's why I figured that would have.
Well, this conversation wasn't specifically one that came up,
why
asshole
not?
licking.
Right through the tight end or something. I don't know. Give me a football term.
We have the tight end, yes, or a fullback, depending on how big their ass is. You don't go between quarters and go, all right, listen here. I want to show of hands. Who's a butt licker, a butthole licker in the room? Maybe next year's party. You would be amazed how many times I've gotten in conversations about that. Like so many. It's an alley special. I can honestly tell you, this is one of the not often occasions that it comes up. So, it's nice to know we have differences still. Yep, right. Scott usually goes with weather. I go with butts. Did you want to talk about the weather? Great. Cumulus clouds. I want to know, do you wax your butthole? Both can be windy. Goodbye. Well, that was fun. Wasn't that fun? That was fun. Do us a favor, will you? Subscribe. Share the Scott and Allie Not for Air podcast. Touch our buttons. We know you want to.